Hey everybody, welcome back to the Monday Q&A show. The show that answers your questions, helps you out in a pinch, and is also here to hopefully kind of give you the news of what's going on in the world of airsoft and around. I'm your host, Jonathan Higgs. Welcome back to the show. And remember, this show is yours. It's all about the questions down below. In fact, last week I asked if you guys wanted me to do a little bit of a format change. I kind of heard what you said, and I've got some ideas. I kind of pulled together, I think, the most popular comments, and I think I know what I'm going to do. I'm not going to change Mondays, but I'm gonna add something in on the week. I think there's a little bit more you guys and gals want. I'm gonna give it a shot. If you do like it, great. If the views are there, if not, no worries. We'll try it out for a few weeks, and no worries. If it doesn't work, we'll try something different. Anyway, stay tuned on that. Give me like a week or two to pull it together, and then I'll get you something good. Also, don't forget, if you're your first time here, comments below, vote up your favorites. Also, if you have a video or your own channel or another channel, put those down below. Anything in the airsoft related world, I like to share those at the end of this video. Also, if you want to support the channel, I do have a web store. You can check it out. Link is in the corner. It has some really cool morale patches. They're all free shipping worldwide. And last but not least, don't forget to like, comment, and mash the sub button and notification bell so you get notified of updates every single week. I'd love to have you part of the Airsoftology family. So enough about all that. Let's get it, it's all behind us now. Let's dive on into what you're really here for, and that is your questions from the comment section in this week's Tippmann Mail Call. Marcelo writes, with the import and sale of radios such as Baofeng soon to be illegal in the US, what are good radio options will be there for airsoft in the US? These, if you guys don't know, are kind of ubiquitous. They're the common high power radio you're gonna find. In fact, they're so popular, companies like Milsim West have made a radio pouch for it in combination with Tactical Tailor. I think they maybe have a different vendor now making them for them, but they are so popular. I actually have a handful of them myself. They are high power, they work, but they are now really under fire under the FCC. FCC, the Federal Communication Commission of the United States, is looking at them and saying, they're not really being used for the intended use. I mean, if someone has a ham radio license and they operate in the proper frequencies and all that, then it's correct. But the problem is, these radios don't have FCC approval. I don't know enough about all the details. There's some super smart ham radio geeks out there. I know you guys and gals are into it that could explain this way better than me. I'm gonna stay general on this one. Let's just say that a lot of these radios aren't FCC approved. Because they're not FCC approved, they're not gonna let them be sold at all, advertised at all, even owned or used at all the way the proposed law is being set. In fact, it starts in September, which is already right now. So in that way, all of our Baofeng radios in the States are operating illegally, but it's kind of been that way already. If you're operating in a frequency outside of the FRS, GMRS, and you don't have a license, the proper licensing, even for some of those frequencies, and you're operating at the improper power levels, you're already using it illegally. I've covered this many years ago in some different videos. So it's already been in that kind of gray area, not even gray area, it's pretty black and white that we've been doing. The issue here is use, intent, making sure you're not using any frequencies that bleed over into something else, not using repeaters. There's a lot of stuff going on here. But let's just say this. At most Milsim events, we're gonna see these things. Let's just hope the FCC doesn't show up to them. As for viable options that are in the high power range, hate to break the news to you, you're gonna be stuck with, if you have a license, anything that's FCC approved, there's no big deal. You just make sure to get a good radio, but chances are most of us don't have that FCC license, myself included. So we are looking at good old fashioned bubble pack radios. We're back again, which means line of sight outside, forget indoors for the most part. They're gonna be basic radio communications, but again, not the worst. Now, to plug a actual sponsor of this, I want to say they're a sponsor of this show. Cobra Headsets does make the headsets to work with a lot of different radios, including like the single pin Motorola's, some of the bubble pack, Midlands and things like that, the Kenwoods that are all commercially available for all of us with proper use under no license or just like a GMRS license if you want to get one, like a family license. So that's out there and you can actually still get some very good headsets. And in fact, you've already, like, Jonathan, I've already invested in one. They're modular. They have modular like plugs now. So like the push to talk and down links, you just have to change the tail on them. So again, I just want to talk about a sponsor that is already kind of future-proofed on this. I really do like and really do use their products. That's why I brought them on board on the channel. They've been here for many years as part of the Monday video. But yeah, so that gives you some ideas. As for radios, there's a lot of great brands out there. Just go on Amazon, read some reviews, and check out the best ones. Jack787 writes, hey Jonathan, I'd like to know what the thinking is behind metal piston heads. Behind every build I've ever done, I've always used a plastic piston head to keep the reciprocating mass down and avoid cracked shells, etc. I've noticed a lot of companies sell them as quote-unquote upgrades, but what would you want to fit one? But why would you want to fit one? Actually, let me correct myself. So I know you're thinking, okay, why would you not use like a silent piston head, which are kind of curved and they've got the sorbo pads and all that? Why would you go to a metal one? If you're doing high FPS builds or high rate of fire builds and you're putting something like a sorbo pad, like an absorption pad in there, the metal piston heads actually, in my opinion, in the past, I've used it very successfully after I've cracked quite a few regular piston heads. They are far more durable. The piston head tends to crack around the edges like the way it cups around the seal because there's an O-ring in there. So if you guys don't know, the piston is what goes back and forth in an airsoft gun, creates the piston head, creates the seal, you have the compression, and that's what pushes the air out through the air nozzle, through the cylinder head to the air nozzle, and then to the BB. That is how it all works. There's some videos on the web of how to see how it works, but it's the compression components inside of your airsoft gun. So why would you want to use a metal one? For really high FPS builds. I think that if you look at the guys building these DMR rifles, you're probably gonna find them in there is my guess, or a little more common in that. There's some good specific uses. I know some guys who do high rate of fire builds do it because it's just insane amount of repetitions in there and they wanna keep that compression, they don't wanna lose it. And adding the sorbo pad will help prevent some of that hard metal on, you know, just that smack and that wear and tear, take a little bit of the abuse off the mech box shell so you don't deal with cracked shells. Although you don't see cracked mech box shells that much anymore. It was kind of a common thing a long time ago, but I think mech box shells have really improved, especially when you look at companies like Crytek and KWA and even VFC. They've been like really reinforcing. I think Crytek probably has one of the better mech box shells, as well as KWA on the strength of the shell itself. They really kind of led the way in the improvement there many years ago, and has kind of stayed true. You're not going to really crack a lot of shells anymore. So that's really it. I know there's a lot of great techs out there. They're going to probably jump in with their own reasoning, and there's a lot of people that say no, don't use them, because you want a single point of failure. You want something that will break rather than the metal parts in there. That's why, personally for me, I kind of look to the piston to be that for me. So I try not to use a full metal tooth piston. So I don't want when it comes to like the gears engaging with the piston, you have partial metal teeth, but in the back it's plastic. If it does strip, it's stripping plastic, and you get actually your gears, which are far more expensive than a piston normally, are intact. So some people have the same train of thought. They're like, I don't mind replacing a piston head every now and then. But if you're not a tech, then it might be a right move for you as an upgrade, especially for like a high feet per second DMR build, or maybe a high rate of fire build with the proper absorption pads put in. Metal Gear Genesis fan film project writes, why don't more people run bullpup configurations? Is it the version 1, version 2 gearboxes that scare people away? Not necessarily, because there's even like version 3 bullpup rifles out there. I think it's really more the what we call the manual of arms when it comes to a bullpup. It's a different setup. I personally like them in many occasions, many ways. I think they're actually good and fun to use. I think they are have their benefits, especially if you want to have that range, but you also want to have something tight to work CQB, maybe a little longer barrel, maybe a little bit more accuracy, you know, things like that, a little more power efficiency because you have a longer barrel, maybe you can have like a better cylinder, things like that. That in mind, you're changing your magazine under your armpit. And that's usually where people have that problem. They're like, when they're shooting and fine, when it goes for a mag change, usually you're like mag change, mag in, right? For an M4, AK, flip it out, flip it, lock it back in. Bullpup, you're reaching under your armpit, hitting a button, pulling out. So it's something very different. It's a little alien, a little strange feeling, and it takes some practice. So I think a lot of people, while they look at them and think they look cool, there is a learning curve if you're moving to a bullpup. That said, I love the AUG platform. I think ASG probably makes a fantastic affordable AUG in their official Proline series. They're actually quite a pretty good darn gun. I did a review on one a long time ago. Still holds true. It's still the same product, still good. I do always like I've got a soft spot for the AUGs. I think there's some other good platforms, and there's also some bad ones. I mean, like the famously terrible Tokyo Marui FAMAS. I mean, that was like kind of like the infamous worst airsoft gun ever, possibly. Anyway, but that in mind, I do think there's some really cool things going on with bullpups, and I think there is a place for them. I think what scares people off, honestly, is not the type of gearbox inside. It's just having to relearn how to do all those things like mag changes. All right, that's it for questions this week, which means it is time for the Code Red Headsets video recommendation of the week. This one I was gonna pick from you guys, but after I saw this video, it popped up on my IGTV feed, and I was like, wow, and I was like, dude, you gotta post this on YouTube now. He's like, oh, I'm gonna do a different ad. I was like, no, post it like it is right now on YouTube, and he did. Greg Wong, Spartan117, GW, it's why Travis Haley plays Airsoft. If you have gun friends that are like, Airsoft's stupid, show them this video. For real. This video, Travis Haley probably does the most amazing job at explaining why Airsoft is good. It's him and his son, Travis Haley's son, on camera, and probably the best way I've heard this explained of why, for a lot of different reasons. He actually goes through his loadout as well, so if you guys want to see what Travis is running, definitely watch this video too. It's not just like, oh, why to play Airsoft? It's actually overall cool. This video made me, I did not want to click away for a second when I watched it. I was like, this is good. I've got to share this with you guys and gals. Definitely worth it. If you guys aren't subscribed to Greg too, you need to be subscribed to him. He works with PTS. He works as kind of their marketing ambassador, but he also does a lot of stuff on his own. He does a lot of gaming, like internet gaming, video gaming, a lot of first-person shooter stuff, some tie-ins. He's actually even on like the CBS, I think, SEAL Team 6 show or one of the FBI, I don't know. He's always on one of those shows as like extras and stuff. He's a very active guy in the community, in all the worlds, and a vet, and actually a true veteran of the military. So definitely someone you want to hit that sub button for, a very pro Airsoft player. And this video is probably one of the best ones I've seen come out of there just because of the content. If you have friends that are wondering if they should play Airsoft, this is it. If you have people that are like, man, maybe I can try to talk my father or my family into playing with me, show them this video. This is really it, and I can't say enough about how important of a video this is for right now in Airsoft, of how positive is hearing a gun person talking. Actually, there's a video not too long ago that T-Rex Arms even talks, again, another firearms channel, talks about the importance of Airsoft. So we're starting to see this more and more and more. Real companies, firearms companies, major names in the firearm industry identifying Airsoft as a real option and a fun thing to do on top of that. So definitely check this one out. If you guys don't know, like I said, mash the sub button on Greg's channel. If you like what you see, let him know I sent you over there. And also, if you have something like this or anything that's Airsoft related, just let me know in the comment section below. Don't forget to put your channel down there, even your own channel. I did see a bunch of ones this week. Sorry I didn't get to you, but be persistent. Put them down there again this week. Definitely put them down there again this week. I'm gonna pick one from you guys for next week. Anyway, don't forget, web store, get you the patches, morale patches, shipped free anywhere worldwide. Just once you buy it, free shipping. You gotta pay for the patch. It does go to support the show, and of course, mash the sub button if you like what you see here. So anyway, until next week, go out, play some Airsoft, have some fun, but no matter what you do, call your freaking hits.